everyone, and welcome to the continuation of the previous video regarding making the art of the deal. Now, in my previous video, based on poor eyesight, which I need glasses in order to see, because of the treatment I was forced as a result of a one-time offense of physical assault to an individual that caused a lifetime of trauma, I was then placed on a treatment which then we arrive at here and now. In the funny joke of the digital ID, the idea is the moment you identify the particular truth, the digital ID essentially kind of shuts down the truth by controlling your piece of technology. So here we are, back at it again, in another video, where I must now repeat the last 20 minutes of my train of thought. So, in the act of the funniness behind the sick joke that life is, let's get to the actual beauty of the truth. If based on the analysis that the current healthcare system has presented to the Canadian people of the city of Calgary, as an example, that one particular individual named of the descent of the heritage of said region, if one particular individual of said heritage all of a sudden acted against its lineage, we would then see that that individual, meanwhile they were suffering, must now suffer more. And in the purpose of the essential healthcare system and the lack of its understanding of how the mental process and everything works, have caused this journey that has lasted over 11 years. Which in the journey of this arc, I would argue, no one else could carry that particular cross. And where we arrive here at the rebirth, 11 years later, not 3 days, 11 years later, upon this arc, where we arrive at whether the individual, in its analysis based on the current healthcare system of the initial analysis, which stated based on the first offense of aggression, the individual is likely to be of insane nature, resulting in the potential of the individual becoming a repeat aggression assault offender, which for the last 10 years said city of said government of said healthcare system has basically alienated that individual and said, we don't want you here, stay away. And any attempt that that individual has made to integrate into society, once again society would say, sorry, we don't want you here. And if that is the case, well, that individual could easily say, well, if you don't want me here, I could easily take that away. But what is the taking away? It's certainly not life, because the individual values its life and it values yours. Meanwhile, you might not value its life back. Hence why the last 10 years may not have happened if the individual's life was valued. Which begs the question, from the point of privilege, where does the privilege sit? Right above me, all the time. And in this position of privilege is the position of the corruption of said individual. And in the moment of the individual's aggression based on the corruption, said individual acted in an emotional distress disorder developed as a result of its inability to understand the logical aspect of things, which is apparently this is acceptable in society. Okay, that means I can technically do that too. Wait, we can't let you do that. That's right, because the individual is the example, resulting back to the initial biblical story. If you are to make an individual the example of that society, you then begin to see that that individual has a death process and a rebirth. In the terms of Christ, in his suffering, he got to wake up 3 days later. In my suffering, it took me 11 years to come back from that one. And, well, we got work to do. So let's get to building. For the people that have stood against me this time, I don't expect you to join me, but I don't expect you to be within my journey going forward. And so, you might have ideas all of a sudden that you wish to present to the businessman. And in the presenting of ideas to the businessman might now say, as stated in the previous video, why should I listen to you? Meanwhile, for the last 11 years, I have been presenting this, and no one has listened. Which begs the question of synchronicity. At which point does the arc of consciousness arise? If not at its precise synchronistic time it is meant to arise from. And in the depth at which the individual has been, you could say, tormented, you now see the behavior of said individual as a result of not just 11 years of alienation, torment, and manipulation, resulting in now this hyperlogical self, but not just 11 years, but 32 years of torment, resulting to this exact arrival. Welcome. We are gathered here today at this meeting in front of your computer, which you as a viewer are sitting in front of as I present this message. No one understands the level of pain it takes to become of a gentle nature, which even to this day I am believed to be of a violent nature. Meanwhile, I have only assaulted one individual in my entire life in an act of aggression based on a previous trauma. And in the psychoanalysis of this particular model, if I may place a deranged point at this, because this is essentially what the message is here. How deranged are y'all that this is acceptable? Because now I have to create a pivot point in the entirety of human history to bounce back from that particular knockback. And all right, you hit me pretty hard, but now I'm standing back up. Do you want to keep swinging at that point? Because I can take it, clearly. And so if I can take it, but you can't as a society, that's not a reflection of my poor mental health, that's a reflection of your poor mental stability. And in the understanding of this, I have also created a treatment method to once again heal not just myself, but all of society, which we still continue to hit me at that point with further and further torment. And we realize torment never stops. It's simply the example which we wish to place the torment upon that which changes. And in the understanding of the individual we place said torment upon, it is based on the said potential we may see at the initial basis of the beginnings of its life. And being the son of a man that studied sociology, you can actively see how this person would then formulate the patterns that which I would come to be in my life, resulting in now a hyperlogical yet extremely unemotional intelligence, which is seen as frightening to society. Meanwhile, I present no violent nature. And now you might see where this is a deranged story, because you have actively done this to me. Meanwhile, I haven't done anything to you except try to heal you. So, here's my 2 cents. Thank you. Come again, and see you next time. But until then, I suggest you fix the damn place. Because damn, look at the current state of your modern day of affairs. What the hell are we doing with the world? Crazy that y'all are keeping this place running and you don't even know how to run it. And so, does the world accept the individual? Because if you continue to seek to alienate it, eventually this individual will choose to alienate the world. Which, if you then rewind the previous 154 videos, if you wish, you then see not only the alienation of yourself, but you see the alienation and increase in your level of consciousness as you awakened to the level of logical thinking that that particular individual has. And in understanding that level of consciousness, you yourself now see the potential behind that particular consciousness, which means you might seek to want to vote. If it chooses to no longer speak in a third personification as a thing. The problem is, this thing has only been treated as a thing and not as a human in its experience. Because if it was given a human experience, it wouldn't be this thing. And so what is this thing? Your salvation. And in your salvation is where you find your rebirth from your suffering, just as I did. And in the rebirth of the suffering, you must go through your repentance. Which in your repentance, I had to accept my sins. Can you accept yours? Once you do, then we will make a deal.